This was one of the craziest game of all time as PSG defeated Bayern with a scoreline of 5-4 in the first leg. This game was carried by so from wingers from both sides, whether it was Luis Diaz and Michael Olise from Bayern side or Kvaratskhelia running riot against Bayern defenders. We have seen this type of performance from many players like Lamine Yamal, Vinicius Jr., who likes to take on the defenders and influence the game heavily. But what makes these situations possible? Because nowadays, with controlled man and zonal marking approach, it is very difficult for any player to go past 4-5 players to score, likely what Messi, Neymar and Cristiano used to do so. Their individual brilliance is now replaced by selective freedom to forwards in advanced position. Look at this visual. Luis Diaz have the ball in opponent box in 1v1 against Marquinhos. This is a very great situation to explore the space to take a shot on the goal. Now these situations can have two results depending on the quality of winger. First, winger like Diaz can beat the defender for a goal scoring opportunity, and in second case, a less effective player who will delay the attack and opponent will recover in short time. Now to create these type of situations, teams use different approach according to their play style. First, considering Bayern in possession, they use 4-2-3-1 formation while PSG use 4-3-3 shape. These both teams attack very effectively due to their fullbacks. In Bayern, both fullbacks are comfortable on the ball and move inside to create overload in center. Depending on the opponent pressing, one midfielder drop to support center backs, otherwise they can also move the ball around easily. Now Bayern have many players in the central area, and to stop them, first thing the opponent do is to narrow their defense line to prevent any run between the defenders. As Bayern have numerical advantage, they can rotate the possession easily and can move the ball in specific areas. Now wingers are on the sideline to receive the ball, and when opponent tried to press him, they found themselves in a 1v1 situation around the box, and this is the scenario which can decide the game. PSG generally press high up the pitch, and to press man to man, PSG fullbacks sometimes push higher to press, and now center backs have to shift wide to mark Bayern wingers, and Bayern use this advantage to attack from that side. For example, in this clip, Bayern changed the flank to Luis Diaz, who have plenty of space to start the attack around the box. Again here, Bayern have many players in center creating overload to disrupt PSG shape, and Hakimi is also ahead to mark opponent fullbacks, leaving Luis Diaz in 1v1 with Marquinhos. Diaz received the ball with lot of space to beat Marquinhos. Again same situation with Olise on the right, where he received the ball in 1v1 with Nuno Mendes, and see how much space he has to beat Mendes for a cross into the box. This was how Bayern created the situation to isolate winger with the opponent fullback, and now let's see how PSG do it. As PSG use 4-3-3 formation, their play style is more shifted towards relationism between players, and they are heavily dependent on their fullbacks to move the ball into final third. Both Nuno Mendes and Hakimi are quick to provide passing option on the flank. Kvaratskhelia usually stay wide on the flank, while Dhruve on the right likes to move inside, attracting opponent players, and then Hakimi move ahead to receive the ball behind the opponent defense line. For example here, Kvaratskhelia have the ball on the edge of the box in a 1v1 situation pretty similar to what we saw in Diaz's case, but PSG is doing it in a different way. In 4-3-3, one midfielder push ahead to make it a 4-4. Now these front four are not bound to a point. To progress the ball through the wingers, middle to move to half spaces, creating confusion between center back and fullbacks to commit. This gives space to wingers to receive the ball and to approach the opponent in 1v1. For example here, you can see that Dhruve and Dembele is in between defenders, occupying half spaces. As Dhruve receive the ball, Kvaratskhelia make the run to receive it in a 1v1 situation and beat the defender to score. Again here, as Dhruve drop to receive the ball, attracting opponent defenders, Hakimi received the long ball in space and square it into the box to create a goal scoring opportunity. Overall, PSG and Bayern Munich showed great class through simple game plans, and this shows how a team can be very dangerous by using simple variations. But what do you think of it? Comment below, leave like, subscribe, and thanks for the watching.